So guys, let's start our panel discussion. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today we will talk about how engineers can grow, how engineers can make more impact for their business. And let's start from quick intros from our speakers. Let's go from left to right. Dima?
Hey everyone, my name is Dima and I'm engineering lead at Max Beauty. Like basically I'm doing everything tech related from some WinRAR or some cloud stuff or databases and so on and so on.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Roman. I'm from Almaty, Kazakhstan. My background mostly consists from the working on software engineering in different startups. I have the experience of the 6 year as a CTO position. Last 3 years, I'm a co-founder and partner global tech company Zimron. Very glad to be invited here because this topic is very close for me, and I will discuss about it. Thank you.
Hi folks, my name is Sergey. Currently working in Netflix as an engineering manager. I'm mostly focusing on the finance part at Netflix. So I'm doing the accounting, not the most interesting part. You would think so, but I find it pretty amazing and interesting. Before that, I have been working a lot of different product companies, and my engineering background, mostly mobile, a bit of the back end. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, guys. A few words about me. I am Rostik, and I am backend team lead at 1010 Stack, and will be a moderator at this panel discussion.
Thank you.
I have one disclaimer before we start. We will have Q&A at the end of the panel discussion. So collect your questions, and for best questions from Q&A, we will give you little gifts. So collect these questions. Let's begin from the topic coder versus engineer. And guys, can you tell me please what's the difference between an coder and between an engineer? Who wanna be first? Dima, maybe you?
Yep, maybe. Okay, so let's start from the coder. I don't think like there is a coder or engineer in terms of like the real people. It's like the coder mindset versus engineer mindset. When you think about maybe completing a task, finishing story points threshold, or you don't think about the overall architecture and the global image of your software, that's maybe something to me sounds like the coder mindset. From the engineer mindset, you have to think about it. You have to think your already existing implementations and some of the future third-party integrations and your product at all. So that's something, yeah, I think about.
Maybe anything to add, guys?
I
Sergey?
can go next.
Okay.
It's an interesting question. I would split it a bit differently. I feel there is, at least in my experience that I had, there is like people that work in service companies and the people that work at product companies. And because when you're working at the service company, depending on the team or how your relationship with the client is set up, you're setting pretty far from either the core business or the overall context that company holds, right? And they're not really interested into putting you really deep into the context, what is happening. So that's why you're semi-automatic. So because you cannot run all of the tasks and understand the bigger picture of the company and what you are doing, because you're kind of sitting in duality. Partially you have been hired by a service company, and the service company is selling you because you know a specific framework. You have experience working with the AWS and all of that. And that is something how you're going to be sold to the startup, because they are saying like, you're gonna bring the business knowledge for those folks, and you have to educate them. And in the product companies, it's opposite. You're always going to be connected more closely to what the startup does or the product company does, and to the business and domain logic. And basically, it's a different mindset. So now you kind of use the technology as a tool because you are solving the real problem. In the service companies, sometimes it's really hard to connect to the real problem that exists in the business, because nobody's going to tell you what the real problem. They don't have the time, and they're not going to invest that much in you. So that's going to be my take.
Actually, I don't like split developers into coders or engineers, so on. I think it's all about ambitions. Some people ambitious, some people less or more. Some people want from life more, they do more, and so on. And it's all about how you can grab the opportunities. Of course, it depends from the scale of the business. In startups, you do any kind of stuff things. You don't wait that in some problem somebody hire some dedicated manager to solve these problems. You just 5 or 6 of us, most engineers in startups, you do everything. And of course, I accept that in the mature business, big companies, there is fine to hire some employee for specific tasks, specific skill set. That's all. So overall, I think it's about ambitions.
Okay, good point. Thank you. And let's go a little bit deeper, and let's talk about how engineers can make more impact for their business. What things they should do? Serhiy, maybe first.
Okay. Like, you have to solve the real problems. So that's the thing. And like, if you go a bit deeper, the real problem is something that your user is actually experiencing. So you need to understand what your user does. Sometimes it actually takes a lot of effort. For example, you could be building some startup, right? And in the startup environment, it's a bit different, because usually nobody knows what user wants, right? You're starting something new and you're trying to understand that. So you need to go to those user interviews. You need to meet those people. You need to understand how the analytics works. And that will give you the eventual understanding what type of the technology you need to use, where you can cut the corners and where you cannot. That's the core information that you're going to have. You have to understand the user and you have to understand the problem, and then you're going to solve it. The second thing is you don't have to be afraid to make mistakes. It's the other way of learning. You cannot read the book. I don't know, personally, as long as you've read something, some framework, or build a book about some framework, or build some test product on that, or you build a product that never been to the production with this specific framework, as a manager, I would not consider that to be an experience that is like fully capable for me, that I can mark a checkbox. Okay, the person really knows what this framework does. For me, it actually, how much problems you actually acknowledged yourself while you have been working with it, while you have been deploying it to the production. So that's the second thing. Do the stuff, push it to the production. As long as you're doing things that are not going to the production, ask yourself whether you're in the right place. I would stop at those two.
Okay, thank you. Arman, anything to it?
Yeah, I think these days writing clean code is maintainable, scalable code. You cannot impress anybody these days. I think you need to do more beyond of just writing code, and I think it's about extra efforts. For example, at Zimran, we cultivate culture that the engineering, our engineers, it's engineering at Zimran. It's about curiosity, business mindset, ambitions. It's about take some problem, captain the problem solving, and deliver the result. Our engineers are good in product analysis. They know what about LTV. I think most of us know about LTV, but it's questions that I ask on the hiring process of our developers. So it's about the entrepreneurial mindset and so on. So overall, yeah, there are many talented developers who can write clean code, but you go beyond of the writing code. That's my point.
Thank you, Dima.
Yeah, to add, maybe I would like to say something about the overall team culture without any restrictions. For example, what I mean, if you have like the backend guy or the front-end guy, and you shouldn't build the walls between those two parts, you should allow them to be connected. So the backend should be connected with the front end and vice versa. Also, the engineers should be involved in the business decisions, not like the overall, but they should know why they are building it. For example, why we are building this button here, red or blue or green. For them, it's just a button with like different colors, but for business, there is a meaning behind it. So there is a value, and they need to understand this value. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good point. Maybe you can share with us a time when your work make a real business difference or some big impact to your business. Maybe some story of your experience.
I can start. There are too many cases, in my practice, but I will tell not about my experience of one of the junior developers at Zimbabwe. At the starting point, your startup, it's some streams you don't know how to maintain, grow, and analyze, and so on. At starting point, we decided to create a stream email marketing. Most of us don't know how to build email marketing, and there is some talented developer, ambitious, curious, that said, I'll take the stream, and he goes to the other people who already did it well. He researched, he created dashboards by himself, and then at the end, the result is a 12% growth of revenue. This is all about some thinking about out of scope just engineering. Yeah. It's thinking about problem solving, creating value for business. That's the story.
Great, thank you guys. Dima or Serhiy, who wanna be next?
Thanks. On top of my mind, I currently recall the latest changes we made to our marketing analytics stuff. So me and my team, we kind of enhance the overall event streaming pipelines. So they are almost real time right now. So we boost up the decision making for our marketing team, like almost real time. That's for sure the latest part I recall. What this mean for business? Like the decision, the data is almost real time, and you can see what you're doing, the impact right now. That's that's what on top of my mind. And also regarding the team, I kind of remember when my junior colleague refactored the whole web page in one night just because it was fun for him. And he made a big impact on our business, that's for sure.
Serhiy?
I guess I have to. Mine not that sexy, but just latest one. I like it. When we joined Netflix, it's just like it's a hard context. There is a lot of things that's going on in the company. It's just like it has a big history, and you need to understand how the things are working there. And we have been working in the financial domain, which is really complex. That the whole idea of how the things are working in the movie industry, what rules actually exist on top of the rules that you need to understand how they're working. And as long as you don't understand how they work, it's gonna be a big fine or like a drop in the company's stock, right? So it was really hard for us to get like what we are doing. Really do. And like when we joined, we started, okay, we needed to understand what we are doing. We are internal enterprise team, so we started talking to the users. And there is a set of tools that we are building for our accountants, right? And we've talked to them, we've talked to engineers, they've explained us the stuff. But the thing is, when you're joining to this type of a company with a lot of dense context, the people cannot explain you the simple things because they are too deep in the context that they think that you already know about those simple things. And the simplest thing that every one of you maybe don't know, as long as you never ever worked in the accounting, that accounting is Google Sheets or like spreadsheet, any type of a spreadsheet. You can build any type of a software on top of it. It's gonna end up in a spreadsheet. And then at the end, we started doing a lot of the user interviews. Well, we're starting to figuring out that all our tools that we are building, they're really, really necessary, but they're the last mile tool. Everything else, where like they preparing the data to actually put in the tool, is happening in the spreadsheets. And we started looking through those spreadsheets. One blew my mind. It's called I think it's called Amazing Spreadsheets because one of the VPs called that. It's literally the spreadsheet where you have the map and it actually draws inside of it. So you can basically select the region and it's gonna draw you a region on the map highlighted in the Excel sheet. I never imagined that you can do that. So and there is a lot of data that you need to feed inside these spreadsheets, right? And a lot of this work is actually done manually. So by us doing those user interviews and coming up with this thing, okay, we've understood maybe we don't need to build a lot of tools. Maybe we need to just to connect the data to the spreadsheet and make the interface faster. We brought it in, we started talking to the users, and users like, oh my God, they're just like standing in the line. We want to do it. And it just like, and now we are building the tool. We have like the user group. It's accounting. It's gonna take a while before we go into release it, of course. But it actually saves a lot of time and money for the company because like every type of this decision, like every 10 minutes of this accountant work, it worth like sometimes millions of dollars because you can just forget about some of money there. Like, and we are literally talking about the billions of dollars on our scale. So talking to the users, figuring out all of these things, this actually helped us to understand that we can build a new product that we pitched and we've started building out. And it was done by the engineer. So she talked to all of the users, we've been in Amsterdam, she met the user explained the story, and she's like, okay, that's an interesting correlation. I was not expecting it. So yeah, that's my story.
Thank you for the stories, guys. Interesting cases. So let's go a little bit deeper and let's talk about product mindset. Tell us, please, what helped you to build product mindset in your work, in your life? Dima?
Yeah, interesting question. So my journey, I will start from like the beginning of my career. My journey started when I was playing Counter-Strike 1.6. I was building the custom game, the custom game servers like the deathmatch, zombie mode, death run, all of that. Yeah. So I was playing on some random server and I was thinking, oh, I want to make it different. How it's working? So there was no ChatGPT there to kind of ask, and he will say, oh, you need to do this, that, you need to Google it. Stack Overflow won't help you. There is no community about the Counter-Strike on Stack Overflow. So there was some cyber forum or something like that. I don't recall it correctly. So yeah, and that's how it started. And I firstly created my own product. It was a game server custom with new skins, new game modes. And I was thinking like, is that easy? So that's something you just create and you receive feedback from your players and you enhance it and you work on that. And that maybe was the first time I was thinking, oh, I can create something myself. I can build something on top of something, not from zero. Yeah, and there was more projects like from San Andreas multiplayer, So, and that's how maybe exactly that point of my life was the seed when my product mindset was built. And during my career, I was also thinking about myself as a product because I'm investing in myself. I'm getting new knowledge. I'm working on new domains. I'm building new technologies, etc., etc. And yeah, that's my story about my product mindset.
Who want to answer? Arman or Serhiy, maybe you.
I can try to take it, I guess. If we're gonna talk Silicon Valley, everyone is there product minded, and it's a different kind of a thing. And I guess it just like sounds a bit different when we're talking in the regions where there were service companies, because it's just like, oh my god, what does it mean? Because in Silicon Valley, everyone produces really like not high quality code, but that actually solves the problem. Well, where you're coming to, like the more east you go, like in Europe, the more you start hearing like, I don't care what business solution I'm building, the framework should be new, there should be a lot of tests, the architecture should be beautiful, and we should adapt to something that I don't understand what. So that's the difference. So either you're focusing on business to fix the problem and understand that, or you're focusing on the technology and on the framework. It's even easy to understand from the resume. Usually when you're gonna talk to the people from the service companies, what you're gonna see in their resume, the name of the languages they used, the name of the frameworks they've used, tests, everything, but they never gonna give you the measurable impact. They've made the feature, it brought like, I don't know, X amount of revenue, or they've solved this type of problem, that type of problem. Also, the interesting difference here is in US, when you're gonna meet engineers, one of my engineers told me, like, usually I haven't noticed that, but it kind of makes sense. They usually not gonna say which type of language they know, but they're gonna tell you what domain they are working in at. And that's the major thing. As long as the person talks to you about the business KPIs that we fix, that they fixed, or they're gonna tell you what type of domain they know, that's gonna be like a product-minded engineer, that I can tell you for sure.
Yes, thank you. And I will repeat a question from the audience to our online users, viewers. And the question was, what's the definition of product mindset? Yeah. And let's continue. What helped you, Serhiy, build your product mindset? Maybe any tips or habits or life hacks?
Learning your domain. Just when you're gonna join any new company or startup or whatever, just understand the problem, talk to the users, talk to the people. I would say the second thing, understand the company. Companies have cultures, even if they don't talk about that. Sometimes that happens, and you have to understand how the decision making is happening, because when you go into understand what your user need to build the relationship, how you're going to deliver that kind of message to your stakeholders, that we need to make this kind of a decision, right? So there is like two things. As long as you're gonna focus on those, of course you have to have the technology part. Like, I'm not talking about that, because a lot of people focusing on it, I will focus on those two things. So, and that's something that helped me. I was always a person that was interested how the product works. I tried to understand deeper how the things are there. I tried to meet the users. I tried to understand how, like what's our business intelligence is showing. And then I tried, based on this information, I could come up with interesting ideas. And because I understand how the company worked, I could really, I could explain that to my stakeholders so they get the buy-in in order to build that.
Thank you. Arman?
In my case, I think it's all about the impact the business. From the starting point of my career as a junior developer, I always want to make value for business. And great if this value you can count in the money or some product metric. Problem solving and product mindset, actually, I think it's about entrepreneurial mindset. Because entrepreneurs are facing challenges, sometimes big challenges, sometimes not big. But when you're facing some challenges, at starting point, you don't know how to solve it. But I'm pretty sure that at the end of the time, I find some decision to solve this problem. And that's that drives me. Problem solving, make some value in money, product metric, and some problem shooting. It's my passion. In another life, maybe will be some troubleshooter like Tom Hardy in one movie, for example. That's it.
Thank you. So, product mindset engineer should know product metrics, yeah? Should think about business, think about money, bring some ideas, and etc. And the question is next. Do we still need product managers if we have product mindset engineers that can do all of the work? Who wanna be first, guys?
I think I think we do. It all depends. Like, I think in the early stage startups, when you just starting doing the things, sometimes developers could not understand why they are not the product managers, because nobody knows the domain. Like, everyone is just like kind of on the same level of understanding it, and it's easy to feel like I don't need this product manager, like, because it's actually really hard on the startup, because 99% you are wrong, for example, with this specific case, even if you are a product manager. And when you're wrong and the team is kind of frustrated about that, so like these frustrations builds up and you're thinking, okay, I can do the job and be also 99% wrong, as long as you don't get this 1%. When you got this 1% as a product manager, everyone trusts you, believes you did the great job, you generated the right theory, right? There is other side, for example, in filmmaking, part of our stack, what we are building at Netflix, is actually enterprise software for the filmmakers. We are the largest studio in the world, right? So you need a lot of operational software for it, right? And in order for you to understand what you actually need for the studio to operate, you need people that actually worked in the industry somewhere in Hollywood. So our product managers could be like directors from the IMDb. They have a really deep knowledge of the domain. Like, you cannot build it in half a year or in a year. They always gonna be ahead of you. They always gonna have like the better intuitions. You can get closer to them. You can talk to them. But the only thing that you could be in that specific case, you could be a nice tool and learn through them, because this experience, like, it just like, it builds a vast, ocean between your knowledge of the domain and theirs, and you also always going to be partnering up.
Okay. Do you have any other ideas about this?
Yeah, I think it depends. It's a complicated question. Because the Pavel Durov, Telegram, they don't have products and etc. But I think in some business niches that like the SaaS business, where you sell software as a service, maybe there, like Sergey said, domains of the engineering, for example, managers, engineers, it's more useful for this business. Maybe there is no need to hire a dedicated product manager. But it depends from the focus of the scale and majority of your business. And sometimes it's 18 to 12 Pareto principle that and sometimes you just solve tasks with the just engineering, but in some really specific niches, you need some really experts. Of course, it depends.
Yeah, I would like to add. So maybe it's, I agree with Roman. It's about the domain and about the business, but there are the edge cases for that, and especially in startups when you are constantly like fast and furious, you're doing this and that and everything in a rush, and maybe you don't need like the dedicated person for that, but at certain point you will need. So it's not a binary question to answer about. So
I want to add, I think in startups, you don't need product. If your engineers from the starting point is with the entrepreneurial mindset and they're full stack developers that can communicate, that can. I have a story when I built one startup, online travel. We was 5 or 6 of us, and mostly engineers. We don't have support, dedicated managers. And we started product, and some users, of course, facing some issues. And of course, you don't wait when somebody hire the support manager. We try to communicate by ourselves, solve their issues, help them. And it was the really, I think, a nice time.
Yeah, I would love to add here, for the startup case, we should not think about the product manager as a position. You have to think about the product manager as a role, right? And sometimes if you have like only 4 people, you're playing all of the roles. Like you have 20 hats that you need to play, and you just like figuratively like playing all of them if you need to. You're gonna be the office manager and you're gonna be the product manager. That's it. So like if you need to clear the toilet, you're gonna be clearing the toilet, and while you're actually like creating a user story, it's the thing, right? So the other thing though, if you pass through the early stages of the startup, there is like this idea of like growing pretty fast, where you need to go through a lot of the hypotheses and theories, and you need to go faster. And I've seen really good managers that kind of understand how you can speed up the process. So like those kind of people that can build you up this pipeline, how you can run through ideas pretty fast and do not invest a lot of time, for example, in building the features that you don't need. Like, I don't know, they really help you to cut the corners or how to experiment faster. So, and sometimes you want a dedicated person. As long as you're growing pretty fast, you have like 20 engineers and you want to have some synchronization, and this person is going to build you this type of the pipeline of that of things, or at least teach the team how to do that. So yeah.
Thank you. Hope product managers don't watching us now. If they, we love you. I'm sorry, wait.
Hello, my name is Misha. I'm developer in EPAM, working for the service company, so never work in product. But I have question regarding the startup. You mentioned that you don't need actually a product manager if you're small, but you need to grow as a startup because you're in a rush. Don't you think that bringing the not a person as a project manager, but someone with a good knowledge of how to manage the product itself, it should help your startup or your product grow faster, rather than delegate it through several developers that are minded in how to build stuff, rather than think about how we can cut the edges, and it depends on the person. But usually, in my experience, developers are more about the technologies rather than cutting the edges and bringing the business value.
Good question, thank you. I think it depends of the what the main target of your startup. If your target is to not to die for first years, maybe you don't need to over-engineer some stuff. Maybe you need to use some third-party tool services and more focus on the more focus resources to the not to die. And at this case, I think if you have from starting point like we in ZBrand, entrepreneurial mindset developers who solve problems, I think it's should work. But if you in some time you have the unit economics, you growing fast, of course product managers dedicate with some skills that will help you. So I think it depends case by case. In our experience, our developer, as I said, who solved the building the email marketing stream. He now our CPO of the product, and that's how it works. Some people just come to our company as a developers. We have two cases. Two junior developers after 1-2 years became a CPO of products. It's all about this. Of course, it's edge case. So
Thank you for answer.
Yes, thank you, guys. And let's jump into the next topic, and let's talk more about career. And question is next. Sometimes engineers feel stuck themselves, and don't know how to grow, how to choose the way they want to grow, management, or maybe be an architect or something like that. So tell us the possible ways of growth for the engineer who feels stuck at their position. Who wanna be first? I think better to talk about senior, maybe.
Can I start? So,
Okay.
there is a couple of things. As long as you want to grow as the engineer and you're looking through a corporate ladder, right? In that specific case, so you want to get like a tougher problem to solve, let's put it this way, or you want to have a larger impact. So you have to find a larger company sometimes. So, for example, you cannot be staff engineer or senior staff engineer in a company where it's like 100 people. It's just like, it doesn't make sense. It could be that you're solving a pretty big problem, but there is like literally you can put any type of a title. So as long as you're looking for a type of a title or something like that, you have to be looking to a larger like company, right? In that specific case. And then understand what it actually means in this specific type of a company, what it actually means to be a staff engineer, a senior staff engineer, or like, I don't know, distinguished engineer, etc. Right? So the other case scenario, like you could actually switch a career path, right? So like usually what we are talking currently in the companies, you have this dual track. You can grow as the senior engineer, right? And in specific time after you're like an L5 engineer, for example, like Google, you can have this possibility to switch to a manager track and start growing into the manager track, right? So in that case, you're leaving the technology behind and you're start doing more of a people management stuff. So it's not architecture. It's coming to 101 and hearing the stories about how people cannot talk to other people and trying to make them make friends together. Like that's it. Of course, it's not only thing, but you're building the relationship. You're building the feeling of the team. You're like a bit like a psychologist within the team. When everyone trusts you, you can kind of identify where the dynamics between like communication is wrong, where we need to improve it. But you're leaving behind all of the things that have been within the technology. It's just like now you have this. You just keep the experience of the developer, so you can relate to them when they explain you the problem. You're okay. 5 years ago, I've been there. I kind of have a bias or at least some understanding how this problem can look like. And I can help you out to bounce off me your ideas so you can come up with the better decision. That's it. So that's the managerial track. It always like that. You cannot be like highly technical. Let's put it that way. And then there is the second part where you're becoming staff engineer, senior staff engineer, etc. Like, for example, at Netflix, as long as you are like a senior staff, like L8 engineer, like you are basically you're basically reporting sometimes to the CTO of the company. So like there is like senior vice presidents and you. So you don't have like nobody reporting to you. So you're not a people manager, but from the technology perspective, you're actually influencing how the company looks on like really big and wide domains. So that's the other track. And for that track, you have to know business. A couple of the examples that I had in my life when the companies hired for the senior staff engineers or or for distinguished engineers. They took the person that actually had worked, for example, in the finance domain at a specific scale for 10, 15 years. They solved a lot of problems, and they bring in this person so they know how to solve exactly their problems at the scale 10x. They are currently at this kind of like problem. They bring in this person so they can understand how the future structure of the code is going to look like, where they need to solve the things because they had an experience. So like on those positions, your domain knowledge is going to be really crucial. I just give you an example of, I don't know, like finance. It could be different. For example, there are domains like growth engineering. It's like a completely separate thing. You have to build a lot of bad code and a lot of different like, I don't know, technologies that you never used. You need to run fast and like to understand whether something working or not. And that could be also your your domain knowledge. I'm really good growth engineer. I know how the growth engineering works in this in this scale of operations and in this type of the domain. So that's just an example.
And you mentioned the corporate ladder, right? And what about, can you just maybe a few points about non-corporate ladder? If a person goes full entrepreneurship, you know, building his own project.
You're a product.
Huh?
Then you're a product manager, right?
I'm interested in the path developer to product manager, you know. Do you know anything about it? Thank you.
Like, I would say the best case scenario for this thing is infra teams. So like, as long as you're building tools for the other developers, because you have the understanding of the user, and as long as, because you're a developer, right? So it's the easiest way for you to jump in. The other thing is, as long as you're working in a specific domain for really a long time, and that's a new domain. For example, it's an tech, right? It's pretty fast and growing. So you can start as a developer, but then you could be a product manager. As long as you try to invest most of your time in understanding the user, reading through the forums, playing around, like building a lot of theories, like how the things can work, trying to invest into this part, then I think as long as there is an opportunity in a company, you can do the switch.
Anything to add to this question?
To not previous question for the, I think Sergey have a good explanation about the paths. And I agree. One thing I want to add, it's about once one junior developer in our team asked me, Roman, how you decide to become a CTO? I said that wasn't my target because. As I earlier explained about the problem solving, I solve problem no matter from from which direction it hits me. And then my people manager came to me and said, Arman, you problem skills is good. Do you want to take more ownership? And that's how it works. If you work with a good manager, he see that you make impact, make value, and of course for him it's you're the top performer. And when some opportunities become, you need to grab it. That's it.
Hey, Dima.
Yeah, I have slightly different understanding, meaning about the titles. So I don't think at the very beginning of my career, I was thinking about like junior, middle, senior, what's next. But now I don't think that that's really relevant because those titles doesn't represent what you're doing. It's about the responsibility and it's about the level of complexity you can handle. So the main question, what's after senior? Yeah, everything you want, basically. So if you want to create your own product, your own company with the necessary skills, with the engineering skills, you can handle like the engineering part and be the product, be the CEO, whatever you want. So you can choose from the paths already described. Yeah, but that's like it's not really the necessary path. What you feel is most important. So if you want something, if you feel you can handle it, take it. Grab it or not.
Yeah, you can try it and see how it goes. One thing though that I want to add, like as long as you're working, like some people do not really like to work in a big corporate companies because just like really it takes a lot of the overhead on top of you. Because you need to communicate to a lot of people. There is a lot of layers. They need to understand what you're doing. So you need to kind of like you invest a lot of time in communicating what you're doing, right? And also sometimes when you're like an industry leader or something like that, the price of the mistake is really, really high. So you're pretty conservative on a lot of things that you are doing. And like making the changes, it's just like, it's a tricky thing. Sometimes you do not want to work on this type of a scale and you're going to be always like, okay, I want to jump on a company as long as the company 100 people, as long as like becomes 1,000 people, like I'm not comfortable with this kind of environment, I'm going to leave. So there is also a possibility like that. You can still have a lot of the impact there, but there is no need to have like those corporate structures where you're explaining, hey, there is a staff engineer. You have this label so others can have the expectation what this person is actually doing, and you can actually assemble the team or understand, okay, this type of a problem, it's pretty wide and I need this type of a scale of a skill of a person in order to solve that. So it's just like basically try to, I don't know, create some sort of like building blocks. Not all of the organization need them.
Okay, good point. Thank you. And I want to ask you, we have here engineering lead, CTO, engineering manager. Can you tell us how to prepare yourself to these ways to grow to your positions? Maybe you have any tips or recommendation if someone want to grow to one of these positions?
I just like people. That's it. And I like to code, and I'm just like sitting in this specific place I like to help people grow. That's the only reason I'm here. I know that I'm not gonna write code, and like I had to make some amendments with myself. It took me a lot of years to understand that, and therapy sessions. Okay, now I know that people is actually something that I'm more attracted to, and building the relationship and hearing all of your problems during the one-on-ones and giving you this bouncing space where you can come up and think, okay, great, I came up with this idea, I can do that and help you out with this. That's my part. I like it, but if you think that the engineering manager is about the architecture or solving like super strong technical things, it's just like, it's not like that. Not in my experience. I guess in different companies it works differently, but from what I've seen, I think it's just like you have to be the multiplier of other people within your team. And the better you are a multiplier, the better your people are growing, the better you're a people manager, the more people you're gonna get and help out.
Okay, Arman?
I think, first of all, no matter which path you choose, people management, technical leadership, CTO, whatever, first thing you need to realize that there won't be quick wins. There will be a lot of failures. You do not give up and move on, because every growth is painful. It's painful. Some people like this, like me. Some people don't like. I have was the case when I shifted developer to the team lead, people management, and it was not so good story, because after a few months he realized that it's not these pains, these failures, it's not about him. He likes to make his stuff and take some quick wins. It's first of all, you need to answer one question: Is it your path? Is it that path? Am I ready to fail and move on? That's it.
Yeah. From me, don't think about your title something like power, influence. It's responsibility and only responsibility. So when you're responsible for your team, for your product, for your company, you don't think about titles at all. What you think about is making it better, take it, grab it. So here we have a scalar, stop at never, and fast and furious. That's what I want to say about it. Yeah, and I have nothing to add about it.
Yeah, I have one to add one thing. Jorman said a really interesting thing that there is a lot of pain, like so. I think it's a Buddhist thing that is as Buddha said, there is a lot of pain in the life, and life is pain, but suffering is something that you choose. So you have to love what you are doing. It's not about the result. It's actually about the process. And as long as you don't like the process, no matter what the result is going to be in the end, it's never going to satisfy you. So as long as every second of every day you cannot find the reason why you're actually doing, why this specific type of the pain that you're enduring is actually bringing you something interesting where you can be as a third party and observe it and not react emotionally on top of it, it means that maybe it's not the job for you. So just like, because otherwise you just gonna burn out. But that's actually the burnout. You just emotionally cannot stand all of the pain that is coming because you're trying to hold yourself up, but it's gonna finish and wait until it's gonna finish. The other guy, Nassim Taleb, he has like this book of the anti-fragility, and like his idea of the anti-fragile thing, it's not the thing that does not break when you are trying to break it. It's the thing that actually looking to be broken. It's just like it looks for every other opportunity how it can break itself. It never breaks because of that. So it's just like different types of thinking about those things.
Great points, thank you. So let's go a little bit deeper and let's talk about something personal maybe. What advice would you like to give yourself younger or in your previous experience? What advice you can give yourself?
Invest in the therapy. Go as fast as you can. Everyone has traumas. They hold you. Like, just go there. And then invest in, like, there is one type of the therapy you can talk to. The other one, find a mentor. Somebody that you can actually, that you respect. And then you can bounce through that person. There is a lot of mentorship platforms. There is an advertisement. Here is Vlad. He started one with Dmitro Maleev. You can always go there and try it out. So yeah, having a mentor helps a lot. The third thing, having a community. Like, as long as you're joining some community, but it's somewhere where you really honest and talk about the things. It's not like where you come in there and like showing off what new framework you've used or how you're good at the things that you are doing. Where you're actually going in and talk about the failures. Where you talk about like, this thing didn't work out well. I'm really feeling bad about that, and the community can shoulder you up and say, that's okay. It's like anonymous alcoholic club, like, but for your professional job. That's something that you would love to find. It just those three things is gonna help you grow really fast.
Who's wanna be next? Dima?
Yeah, anonymous professional club. I know. Yeah, that's nice. Telegram club naming. From my end, that would sound like it's not about the language. I can hear right now that not every, but like most junior or trainee developers, they are sticking to a specific language, and they're trying to ask me, oh, will the JavaScript be the same popular in 3-5 years or whatever? Should I choose Go or maybe PHP, blah, blah, blah. It's not about the language. It's about your overall passion. If engineering is something you really passionate about, choose JavaScript. Yeah, yeah, but it's not about the language. That's my advice for myself, and maybe, yeah, I agree regarding the community, because if you're self-baked, of course, right now you can use ChatGPT. You don't need even the Stack Overflow or whatever. But please go deeper into the technology. If you want to be not just like React, Next, Node.js or whatever, go deeper. Understand how it's worked, how it was built, and for what reason it was built, the way it's working. I always ask, like, will you give your car to a mechanic that doesn't know how the engine works? That's the same for the engineer you're trying to hire.
I would add one thing, just like there is a thing like it's called fundamental thinking. So, like, and that really goes like to the thing understanding how the framework works. Like, you have to have the narrative, how the things ideally connected to how the processor works. So as long as you can build the whole story, it's just like it's really nice. I do remember like I really like to do the interviews that style. So I've started like from the you do start like from the usually I didn't start from the processor, but I do start from the operating system, how the process works and all that stuff. And then you build up, and then you're only gonna start talking about the frameworks. And like how deeper you can go to those fundamentals, as long as you understand them, is gonna be always easy for you to understand any new technologies. Because as long as you understand the fundamentals, they rarely change. That's why fundamental education is good, as long as it's a good university and you kind of like really into it in order to understand it, because it's really hard. And sometimes it's easier to have 10 years of experience and then after that go to the university to understand that, because it's a hard stuff. But as long as you understand the fundamentals, just like you will be always on top. You will understand any type of the technology because you're going to ask the right questions. You can go deeper with the why, because you will have this feeling that I still do not know something, because I still do not have this like full narration how the things are connected. And it's going to keep you as a beacon always. It's just like, okay, I still cannot connect this framework to the processor. There is some layer that I don't understand. What is it? What is it? What is it? And then but only from the technology part. In the business, it's kind of from a different perspective. It's also fundamentals, but they're different and they're also pretty hard.
I'm sorry, Serhiy, but I want to ask, how long is your interviews?
Oh, it's pretty fast. It's just like you don't need like I do not do that anymore. Like because like I was working in the service companies, and in the service companies you're mainly focusing on the framework during the technical interview. You do not do coding interview or something like that. So you wanted to understand how the person deeply understands how the things are working, and for me, just you have to understand the ecosystem. And as a mobile developer, I would love to like you could do it like through 4 or 5 questions, but just like starting and going there. They could be binary. They don't have to be really, really deep.
Thank you. Arman, anything to add?
Yeah, about the advice, invest into NVIDIA, first of all. Second advice, as early as possible, invest my free time in developing myself, my network, my hard, soft skills, no matter. Because when you're younger, you have more free time than now. That's it.
Okay, thank you. First question from audience.
You said invest in hard skills, soft skills. There is a big whys of them. Can you highlight 2, 3 from soft skill and 2, 3 from hard skill that you think is good?
Yeah, first of all, it's proactivity. Ask right questions. Don't be afraid to fail, because it's fun when you grow. And from the hard skills, I think it's my background is about the startups, and at some point when your business grows, my hard skills not enough for example, big scale products building. And if I earlier invested my free time to network, for example, like Sergey Dmitrov talking about some big scale decisions, maybe it will be helpful. It was helpful. So now we have the Vlad, head of our infrastructure. This stuff of DevOps, it's his side, and I don't think about it. Yeah, I already invest in you, Vlad.
Thank you.
Okay, one moment. I want to officially start our Q&A session. And do you have other microphones here? Yeah. No. Okay. Then I will pass the micro to the audience. Yeah.
Thanks. I actually have a couple questions. And you've said about team connection, understanding of business decision across teams. And out of my experience, I work in startups for like last 5 years, mostly in crypto. At some point of time, it just becomes too much meetings, too much of sharing, agreeing of each decision with each team member. And my main question is how to not drown your own engineers in all of this.
You have to start to invest into the onboarding and documentation. Yeah, that's like two things. But also like having a lot of meetings, sometimes it's just like a phase. And usually when you have a lot of meetings, it's just like either means that you are not aligned on where you are going. So you don't have like the strategic idea what is happening, like and what you need to solve. That's why you have a lot of meetings. And as long as you have it, then you like the meetings die out and you actually start running into it because you find the specific thing that you're actually solving for.
Okay, that might be part of the answer. Second question is probably about do you need a product manager or when you don't need? And that's also out of experience that when you have a startup, you often run so fast that you just don't have time as engineers and don't have knowledge how to get all the numbers and what the numbers you actually need to sell sometimes. Not to clients, but maybe to investors and stuff, what they want to hear from you. And that's when the product manager might give you a raise in hand, something like that, and lift you up a bit. And like get a bit of that weight out of your shoulders. What do you think about that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're correct. I think like, look, there's two things. It's a startup. Like you have a burn rate. Are you post product market fit or your pre-product market fit? So as long as you don't have the market fit, like you have to run as long as you have this like your running time, right? As long as you have the money out, you have to find the product market fit. As long as you haven't found, it's that, right? The other thing, you found product market fit and you are growing pretty fast. As long as you're growing and you're doing this bleed scaling fantastic thing, you just like, it's like a vending machine that always gives you like, I don't know, sevens, right? So you just like throw $20 million, it just like grows like 10x. And it's just like amazing. It's a good story. You can do whatever you want to do. It's just like, it's gonna grow and like everything is actually gonna be fine. The problem starts with like when you've already pretty big enough. And then you're just like, I need to get to those 20% growth yearly. And I need to understand how I can do that. As long as all of the market is already there, I'm just like a monopoly. And I need to figure out how I'm going to understand how the things are growing. And there you also like find a lot of ways how to do that. At the end, I can say everything works as long as you're actually like, as long as your business is bringing the money, as long as this business is gonna bring you the money, whatever story you're gonna tell, it works for you, and that's fine. and that's the only thing that you can find. All other things, like that is like you can find some people, you can lose some people because not every day, like not everybody likes this type of a culture. I don't know. Like that is Amazon culture, frugality. Not a lot of people, not a lot of engineers actually like that, right? There is a lot of things like work at the Amazon that is okay to be an asshole as long as you're actually bringing a lot of money, and that's fine with that. It's like literally, but you can do that. It's working, and like I don't judge them, all right? So, and then there is other companies like where there is like completely different way of thinking about those things. Everything works.
One thing I want to add, I agree with Sergey. Building successful business is a complicated thing. There is no some silver bullet, and so on. And when you don't know how to solve something, like the pitching and so on, you can just find someone who do it very well and just talk to him. In Azumran, we love to first of all talk with some teams, companies that pass this way. Not past, it's like consulting. And most of it's not consulting, it's both just like French, like networking, network, yeah. And we just grabbed some hypotheses, we tested, something works, something not. That's, I think, good advice when you start up. Not to do by yourself, but just take the expertise of other companies that go this path and solve similar problems. That's it.
Yep, would be simple if you feel that you're overdosing the context. You need someone to help you. So we are not machines, unfortunately. Yeah, and if you feel, for now at least. So if you feel that your business will benefit from that dedicated person, take it. That's pretty simple.
Hello. First of all, thank you for your knowledge sharing. It was really insightful. Previously, you mentioned like product mindset. It's more about building stuff, solving problems, rather than about the technology, about the code, about the architecture, etc. But you will be the one to blame when something is not right, when the architecture is not right, when the code is bad. So you'll be responsible for that. So the question is, what information are you considering? What tools are you using when you decide that this or that solution is good enough, or you should invest more into the quality, into the architecture, and all this stuff?
The first thing is that's why you want to hire people that already solve that problem, right? Because they know, they kind of can compare. That's why you try to build a network. As long as you don't know, you try to build the simplest and easiest test that you can build. It's scientific method. Like you're looking at the thing and you're just like, okay, where I can embarrass myself that I'm feeling comfortable with, like, you know, and that's it. And you test it and then you try to learn from it. And the second thing, you have to run for a failure, and the failure fast, and the most, like, I guess the higher tolerance for the risk that you can handle, the better, because you can have a lot of learning from it. But like, you have to understand what's your threshold, right? So some people are actually okay running, like, I don't know, millions of dollars on the production in the QuickBooks and billions of dollars, and then try to make an IPO, right? And then end up in the jail. That's their level of the risk tolerance for the technology part, right? The other people are not that risk tolerant, and they're gonna be making like smaller steps. But the only thing, you're gonna be failing bad. Just like figure out where you can fail so you can take a look at the eyes of your team, not being like and take this embarrassment as the responsibility and saying like, I did that, I thought it's gonna work, it did not work out, let's clean that up and move on. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I will add one point about the blaming part. When you're working in a company, in a startup, whatever, it doesn't even matter. It's not about the blaming. Don't blame. You're working as a team, and as he said, so just take it, work on it, and do it fast.
The faster the cycles, the better. Yeah.
So don't be afraid about the failures. Everyone is failing, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like you shouldn't be like the most experienced engineer in your team to be the leader. You should be able to handle the pressure, to handle your team in terms of management, in terms of responsibility, and just be the fun guy on the meetings to joke some jokes. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing is regarding the blame. I can tell you for sure, as long as you start blaming others, that means that you're like a bit above your like risk tolerance. That means that you fucked up, you cannot own it because it's too big for you, or you cannot even see it, like, and you're actually blaming others. As long as you're in this situation, that means that you have to like lower the threshold.
So about the tools, it's mostly like fast iteration, not like I would like to honestly I would like to hear something like risk matrix, etc. What you're considering, or nothing like that.
Look, it's different for different organization, for different like level. As I've said, like you as a team, you're gonna see it and you're gonna discuss it. It's not something that you have to copy it from us. We have a different risk tolerance. Sometimes my releases could take half a year, and you don't need to do that. That's because of type of the product I'm working in. Another company I worked, I could do a couple of the releases a day, and that was fine, right? So, and we have a different, like it's the domain, it's the company, it's the level of risk of what we are actually doing. So, but you have to talk through team, and that's with the team, with the manager, with the stakeholders. You have to be curious about these things, and you have to form it your own way. And how to stay curious about that, that's an interesting question. How like to have enough time to talk to everyone, to understand what people are actually saying to you, and compiling all those ideas that you heard into something like some risk metric that can be accepted by the team, and not only just put somewhere like on a dashboard and then this dashboard is never opened. Yeah, so that is really hard, like building the trust around something that is really not feasible. Like, I don't know, you cannot sell it to the team. You know, at Google we have like 4 nines or 9 nines. Like that's why we also have to have this type of the availability, you know, like for our service with 100 users. That's it, right? So you have to find your way.
Thank you.
Hey guys, first of all, thank you for covering interesting questions during the panel. I have a question regarding the future. We all living in 2025, and from my point of view, AI became part of IT industry. So I'd like to hear your opinion and answers on 2 questions. First, what do you think about AI in terms of product, in terms of business? What benefits can it provide to business? If not, explain why AI is overhyped trash, and why do you think so? And second question would be, you guys from totally different spheres, not spheres, but like parts of product business. So would be interesting to hear any examples, how you used AI, you or your team, and what was like the end result? Did you have any benefits from it, or you fucked up? Thank you.
Wanna be first, guy? Arman, let's
I
start.
can start. Yeah, I think everybody knows world is changed then. Of course, we now invest in R&D to use AI in coding process, support AI agent now testing in some cases. So our point for just for example, for one of our OKRs key results, it's about AI at the at the end of the year. It's sometimes it's complicated. We now test MCP servers, though. We now test some LM models. And sometimes it's very good. Sometimes it's fucked up. And you just need some... I think we're on the stage when we, at Zimran, when we have some tools like Cursor, that is must have, I think, for every developer. For example, in Vlad's team, we have only one DevOps, and his productivity is growing up, because I think in DevOps scripting and so on, it's very good choice, for example. So, in my opinion, future is here. You need to invest. Not much money, but you need to invest. I know some companies, big companies that grow fast, who really like requirements is using AI for these employees. Who do not use AI, they lay off them. So I think it's a very interesting time we live in. Very interesting, and we are lucky.
I think AI is an amazing tool for a person that have skills and a lot of experience before that. As long as you don't have it, it could be not that useful. There is a couple of reasons for that. I don't believe in the agency of the AI, but what I believe in is that AI is really perfect tool as long as you know when to ask the right question. And as I've said previously, in order for you to ask the right question, you have to be curious about the world, but you also have this fundamental knowledge and some of the experiences. So you can notice some things that are happening, like in interesting parts of the world, like of the domain or the infrastructure, and you can ask those questions and iterate faster, build things faster. So it's really amazing tool for you in that cases. But as long as you haven't built this type of a muscle, you don't know those things, it's just like, I guess it can bullshit you. That's what it does, right? So like, you cannot identify whether it's actually lying to you or it actually gives you like some valuable information. Usually I use AI like for like a lot of things when I'm thinking how I need to build like a team structure or something like that. I'm doing a lot of the brainstorming, or I need to set up like, I don't know, some documentation part. Like I can do it. It can give me like the basic structure, but I will tweak it, right, manually. Before that, I had to spend 5-6 hours in order to get to this structure and then start doing tweaking of it next day because I'm already tired. Right now, I can do the basic structure and focus on these things that I need to actually tweak and adjust. And it's an amazing tool in my hands. But I feel like for the people that don't have this kind of things, it's just like, it could be even not useful, because as long as you cannot ask the question, what you gonna do with the GPT? Like literally.
Yeah. Quick example, like talking about the Counter-Strike again and the server stuff. Last month, I was curious about the ChatGPT capabilities about building the custom Counter-Strike servers. So like 15 years ago, it took me almost a week to just start a server, and almost 2 to 3 weeks, I don't recall it correctly right now, to kind of modify it. So with ChatGPT, it took me like 1.5 or 2 hours to get the basic knowledge of a mixed mode, mod menu X, and etc. stuff. So it's about speed and time to market. So AI is a tool. It's only a tool. It shouldn't. I don't like the idea about replacing engineers with AI and that kind of stuff. It might happen, but not right now, at least. But you should use AI. Yes, it will boost you. It will boost your time to market. And for example, if you need to learn something new, you don't need to waste time on Googling, Stack Overflowing, forums, etc. Just ask. So, as far as you know what to ask, that's what guys we're talking about.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to add, like, I hope that the AI is not overhyped. And that's going to be a big take. Like, I like to talk, as you all see. So currently, is you're going to take a look at the world population. I'm going to start from really, really, really far from here. All right. So you have downsizing if you're all living through it. As long as you do have the second demographic, I don't remember that in English. It's just like demographic change when your society becomes from agrarian, it becomes industrial, right? And you start living in the cities. Having a family, it's not cheap, so people don't have the family. Nobody fixed that problem. There is like two social laws that works. Like the first one, that the people that are dead, they are not becoming alive, and the second one is that after you start living in the cities, the population start to die out. That we know for sure. So in that case, now you have the problem, because previous populations that we had, they have been growing and growing and growing, which brings you to the situation that you always had enough of the workforce to support the elderlies. We're gonna be one of the first populations where we're gonna have way more elderlies than there is young people. And as long as this thing is not working well enough, like, we're gonna be overworked. There is a lot of things that we need to do. Like, there is a lot of services that we need to start thinking how we're going to automate, and we need to have this boost in productivity. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty painful. So I really hope it's going to work.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, and second part of the question. So maybe you have any interesting case studies from your working experience, how you used AI. I'm talking about something non-typical. For sure, we can use it for the code maintenance, for the spreadsheet creation, for docs creation, but maybe something non-typical, especially from you, Arman, because you said that you're planning a lot with AI this year. So maybe you've already made something interesting, non-typical.
Yeah, as I said, it's on the stage of R&D. I don't think we started from the non-typical. I think there's some things that with some process that we believe that AI can boost productivity. In our products, it's like the big stream. It's our support. We already use some LLMs to categorize the tickets, because now it's a support agent manually looks on the ticket and categorize, then it's go by the some pipeline and so on. And first of all, we want to that this manual work, when we categorize it, we believe that it can solve by AI. And it's what accuracy 90%, 95% as of now. Of course, it's like the experiment, like A/B test. It's not all tickets we now analyze through them. It's about 30% and so on, and we will scale it. I don't know, typical, non-typical, but we like to move like 80/20. So we want to boost from the where we have some manual processes. I think AI will help us. So that's one case that we tested last 3 months. That's it.
Thank you.
Hey, can you please pass mic? Yeah. And wait 1 minute, please. I want to read some questions from online. And first question from Vitalina. How much should software engineer deep dive into the product learning to be able to understand business needs? Where is the balance here?
I guess the thing is that it's not going to be a sprint, it's going to be a marathon. So you have to understand that you have to do a lot of things while you're deep diving into the product. So that's the first thing. So you have to understand what's the minimum amount that I can spend so I can do that consistently. That's the right question that you're gonna ask, and it's gonna depend on you. Because, for example, me, I'm a young father. I have a small kid. I just moved into the new city. I just started a new job and all that stuff. So there is a lot of things that are happening in my life, which is also take out from how much I can spend on learning new stuff. And I have to keep those things into the account, how much I can do right now so I can do it consistently. So that's only going to depend on you. But the only thing that you have to ask yourself, as long as I'm starting reading a book a day, can I do it 10 years from now? 10 years every day a book. As long as you can't, maybe it's not the right pace. And you have to figure that out.
And guys, maybe anything to add? No. Okay, thank you. And one more question from online chat. Should engineer learn about the market and the competitors? Dima?
So the quick answer is yes. The more detailed one, not that much, but still you need to understand whom you're working with and whom you're competing with. So it's about the business value and it's about the overall image of your business. So in order to understand correctly your business needs, the value, you have to look for the competitors and you have to understand maybe some features you don't have, you might kind of think about, or maybe you're doing something better or worse. So yeah, so yes, but not that much.
Yeah, I think a good example is about mobile developers. Our mobile developers looking for competitors like Duolingo. It's our number one competitors. So I think it's work well because they're looking at Netflix too. No, that's just by case. It helps. It helps. It's not about some metrics now. It's not so deep dive that you need some spy tools, you need to analyze some, but I think it's about just like the habit. You need to look for your competitors. You need to look not about your competitors. You need to look for great products. Sometimes some features you can use in your product. It's about some curiosity. It's all about curiosity.
I would add one small thing. Like, of course, the answer is yes. You have to look at, I guess, the more interesting how and why. Why do you need to do that? I think one of the things why you want to do that, it's actually to work on your biases, right? As long as you're building the product, you have already talked to the person, to your users, you're already for quite a long way into this journey, and you solving the problem. Now you're looking through the competitor and they doing some feature completely different. And as long as you start looking at it and think, oh, they are stupid, that's the most interesting part. You're like, okay, I don't understand something, why they're actually doing. And that's something that you can deep dive into it. This really helps you to widen your bias, like to not have only like one solution for everything because you've built it that way. It's kind of helps you out to build this tooling of looking into the problem from different lens, which is really useful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, question.
Thank you, guys. My name is Mykola and I'm technical at heart. And I suggest that from the very beginning of your path, there were a lot of tech in your day-to-day tasks. Now you are engineering manager, CTO, engineering lead, and there are a lot of people, process. Thus, the question is, how many tech remains in your day-to-day work?
It's still a lot because you're still present on the technical meetings and there is still a lot of the discussions that are coming, and eventually you have to be building the bridge between the other stakeholders and your tech, so you have to understand what is happening, right? So you have to read it good, you have to understand the solutions fast enough, you have to understand whether it's challenged enough, or you have to understand what the level of your engineers are without even understanding sometimes deeper like their tech discussions. But you still have to know all those things. what you are not doing, me personally, I'm not writing code daily in my projects. I would consider that to be not useful use of my time in this specific case, because while I'm writing the code, I'm not amplifying the engineers of them running faster and writing the code faster. So I'm not doing that. I'm rarely writing the pull request. I'm trying to invest more time in that. I feel that is really useful. I'm reading a lot of the technical documentation and I'm trying to understand the overall architecture of the system, and I try to build wider context of the tooling that is used within the whole organization, so I can connect my engineers with the right people and saying, hey, looks like this type of a service is already done there. Maybe we can reuse that, or have you talked with them? Those kind of things. That's my level of involvement.
But people is on the first place.
Yes, of course. There isn't like people, communication with people, like building the processes for them to help doing their job, like, and multiplying their like skills. That's it. Like.
Thanks. Roman and Dmitry, what about you?
Yeah, my stuff is about the monitoring, analyze the metrics, Grafana technical metrics. I'm not writing code too. For these things, have the Vlad, his team. Mostly I'm hiring. I'm creating teams. I hire by myself. I still hiring every position, every hire go through my pipeline. But in some technical interviews, I include some other senior guys. But mostly it's hiring and analyze metrics. Of course, like Sergey in some meetings, go some meetings to be in context, just about the context, and to ask right questions. For example, why you started to use this tool? Is it free, open source, self-hosted, and so on? That's it.
Hiring 100% is the toughest job. Like, as long as you're good at hiring, you are just like, you're the best. As long as you can hire the right people, it's just like you have the magic skill. It's the hardest one.
That's true. Also, regarding the code, I write code daily. I still at the very beginning of building my team, and so I have to mentor my engineers. I have to give them the right direction, the right paradigms, the right the right path to work on. And regarding the people first, you don't have to be the lead CTO or the manager to set the people first culture. It's something like that. So it's like for me, it was from the very beginning. To have the right team, you have to be the one that builds the correct culture in it. So being a leader is not have the title of a lead or whatever. It's about the overall expression and the who you are.
But you're working more with tech and code and less with people and process.
No, I work directly with people, with stakeholders, and not only with tech, also some analytics stuff and so on. So my role is at this particular moment is being diverse. And I hired, that's also maybe the most complex part of the job. So be prepared for that if you want to build a team, because you can just read a book and be a 100% perfect hiring manager.
You need to write a book, yeah?
Maybe. Yeah, there is actually a good book about hiring. I don't recall it right now, but I will share it later. My CEO shared it with me, so that would be the nice one to check.
Do I have one question more?
Hey guys, thank you for your time, your brains, which are processing a lot of questions and answering those in a very kind of thoughtful way. My question is very personal and related to the startup. We talked about startups a little bit at the beginning, and my question is the following. If you work for a long time in a startup and you do so many different things. Like you do coding, you try to fix issues. So if you see that process is wrong, you try to motivate people. If you see that some communication goes wrong, you try to fill documentation and so on. So you stretch so much. You write code, and then how to present this thing when you think about changing your job, and in CV and in the hiring meeting, like how to present yourself. Because even I think about the languages I used or frameworks I use them for like a short period of time to solve particular problem. I generated some shitty code. I forget about what I did actually there. So if I put that to my resume, the CV, that like I worked with this stuff, I already forgot about that, and probably I didn't work too deep. So I have very broad expertise, but it's a little bit of everything because it's startup. How to get this buy-in from the new company? How to present that?
Is your startup on the production?
Yes.
Do you have a lot of scale in there?
In progress.
Okay. The other thing, so as I've said previously, the only thing that like mostly like product companies are actually looking for, they are looking for me personally as an engineering manager. Like that was the problem that I've solved, and there is the journey like that I've actually passed through. So we had like, I don't know, X amount that we've spent on the infrastructure because of the growth. I've like reduced it 2 times or like something like that. And I want to hear then the whole story, how it happened. And like that type of the experiences I'm looking for, like me as a hiring manager, right? The other part, which is the engineering part, where like you have to go through the design interviews or like to solve a lot of problems, it's trainable. You can do that. You can, I don't know, it just like, it takes time. It's not gonna take you like 1 day. It's not gonna take you 1 month. Maybe it's gonna take you a year, but you just can see it and solve and all of these things. But the experience that you have, the stories about those things, that at the end something that's gonna land you a job. That's something that's gonna help you on the design interview. That's something that's gonna help you understand the things that you're gonna be like, I don't know, building up and like filling out all those parts. It's only about that, but you have to be on the production and you have to understand what it actually means to break something there and like to feel the pain of those things. That's really, really useful, and I think that's something I'm looking for.
Thanks.
Good, guys. No, thanks. And last question from the audience, and after that we'll move into the kitchen and continue our networking. So, yeah, please.
Hello, guys. Thank you for this panel discussion. Very provocative and many things to think about. So I have some kind of personal and particular question, maybe personal pain. Maybe some guys here will share it. So I am a software engineer in a middle-sized company, about 1,000 employees. And so my problem is, previously you mentioned that it's important to understand the product. It's important to talk to users, and I fully agree with that. But how could I do that? For example, that the biggest part of the product that I faced is mostly Jira descriptions, the Jira task descriptions. And how could I go beyond that? How could I see the big picture? Because currently I am concentrating on some particular tasks, small ones. I have some tasks from this part, from that part, and so on, but not a big picture. And I really want to know what I'm working on in big scale. Maybe you could give some advices here. Thank you.
What I hear is that something that is not happening in your team, and there is no culture around that, right? So like that's something that you have to build on your own. So like the first thing is that you have to be curious yourself, and it's really hard because sometimes you have to go and find like, okay, who created this ticket? Oh, that you, like, I don't know, Ivan, I need to talk to you, like, but you never met this person, and you have to write them in Slack and go directly, hey, can we have a one-on-one? Can you explain me this thing? And you have to be really stupid on this place, right? Because you don't understand a thing that's happening in there sometimes. And being a stupid person is just like, well, you're asking those questions is really intimidating, because you're just like, sometimes like you talk to the person and they're a domain expert and they are telling you something that is pretty easy for them. They're throwing a lot of terms at you, and you have to say like, look, you've lost me on the first sentence. I don't understand that. Can we do it one more time? Where can I find the type of the information? And the higher you are in your career, it's the higher stake for you, because you have already feel that you're an experienced developer, and now you have to be the stupid person. You have to be okay with that. It's really tough. And as long as there is no culture around that, it's really tough, because you cannot like take somebody's lead. Everyone's doing that. Somebody's already asking those stupid questions, and somebody already normalized that in your group. You have to be the first one. You can start doing that one, or you can switch and find a better environment. The first way is really hard. Like really, it could be, sometimes it could be not even accepted by the team. And like, they could be like, come on, it's not working like that. Nobody asked me those stupid questions. Are you stupid? Like that could be a regular answer. And that's intimidating, because you can hear this answer and you should not be angry about that person, because nobody actually talked to him and asked those questions previously. So it's hard. That I can tell you for sure. So you can try your own way, and it's like, as long as you can do that, maybe you can be the change within the company. But as long as it's not working, like, don't waste the time, find the other place.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So in best case scenario, it should be done from both sides, right? From the company culture and from my side personally, to start asking questions, to not too afraid to
Yes,
to be stupid,
yes,
to look stupid. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
that's it. Yeah,
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys for this great panel discussion. It was very insightful, even for me. And let's give it up for our great speakers today. So guys, let's choose winners from the audience with the best questions that you would like.
I think Misha, yeah, for 2 complicated questions. Merge Park from Zimran, from the Almaty. Thank you for the question.
Serhii, and you?
it's not like that I remember only the last question, but I really like that, because it's really hard to actually accepting the thing that, like, sometimes you don't understand the thing, and it's actually really hard to do that. So more power to you. And I have some stickers because I did not prepare and I did not like bring any merch from Netflix, but I have a pretty rare one. Just a sec. The rarest one is actually Emily in Paris, so you can trade a lot of things for that in the office, believe me. Maybe a bit less than from I think the second one is, the first one, the most popular, is going to be Wednesday. Yeah, I don't have the Wednesday, but I do have that. Yeah, like, take it all, come on. I have only one price, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, thank you guys for attending. We'll continue shortly, and mine goes to Mykola. Yes.
Okay, I also have a winner, and I want to give the gift for you, and I will give you a little bit later. So, thank you very much, guys.